What? Oh my god. Tracking me through.
Throughout my past decade of played video games, I've never witnessed such a widespread outcry from people complaining about cheaters. Since at least 1999 with the release of Counter-Strike, and probably before then, there have been people rigging the system to their advantage. With people winning hundreds of thousands of dollars through these means and calls for cheaters' arrests, the question remains the same. Why has there been such a rise in cheating recently? Stick around until the end because the answer is probably not what you expect. So let's add some context to the entire situation. Since the apex of competition, people strive to win no matter the cost. Video games are no exception, and with the creation of Counter-Strike, people followed the pattern. A vast difference between then and now is how we played these games with others. This was the late 90s, early 2000s, and LAN parties were the coolest shit. Plus, it was the only practical way to play with friends. If someone used an exploit or cheated, then you can literally walk over there and have a few choice words. With the community approach, things would get settled before many problems would even begin. We fast forward sometime to a multiplayer game like Team Fortress 2, where servers are player hosted. Of course there were cheaters here too, but the host of the server could easily just kick them out. If your host did not, you could just join a different server who would enforce the actual rules. I also want to note that the way these cheats were done is very different from modern ones. Previously, you had a pretty good grasp with the system you were using and network proficiency. People making cheats at this time were doing it for fun, and the barrier to entry has significantly been getting smaller for very obvious reasons. At a certain point in the mid-2010s, games shifted where the devs control all the servers and admin abilities. It meant games were going to get consistently updated, but also meant there was a reliance on the devs to catch every single cheater. Doing this consistently is an impossible task that has snowballed to our current day situation, where reporting players became the only tool to combat cheaters in our arsenal. With this being said, games were still not being plagued to the point that we all hear about today. Games were evolving at this time too, and they were growing quickly. The newfound popularity led to a major influx of competition, tournaments, and of course money. Like I mentioned before, where there's competition, people will strive to win no matter what. Steroids in sports, coke in finance, and of course cheats for video games. With this new market being formed, cheatmakers finally had an incentive to modernize their systems and make it as alluring as possible. In the past few years, the barrier went from being a computer expert to your mom's credit card. You know how TikTok shows you a random live video every few swipes? For weeks, mine was hacking on Warzone, Fortnite, and Apex blatantly. No covering their names or anything. These people were doing this to promote the cheats that they were using. This type of stuff got so extreme that Activision began a lawsuit against what they alleged to be the biggest cheat maker in the States. Activision v Engine owning was 3 years long of back and forths. Activision claimed that they had spent hundreds of thousands of dollars yearly, and that they have banned hundreds of thousands annually. In the end, 2 members of Engine owning would be fined $3 million and forfeit ever working on cheats again. Although this was reported as a win, it did not really do much. As I dug deeper, I found that Engine owning never went down, that you and I could go over there right now and buy some Warzone cheats. Even one of the members that was named and had to pay a fine was still on the website as a mod, and it seemed like nothing changed. If $1 million legal battles were not enough to deter cheat makers, then what is? No, seriously, you let me know in the comments because I was amazed that this did absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. To keep with the Activision example, they have also spent millions of dollars on anti-cheat software. These are meant to detect cheats before they can even touch the multiplayer. For the most part, these work pretty good, especially for people that are blatantly hacking like the gameplay in the background. They may last one game and get banned, which is not too bad. The thing is, these communities aren't that dumb. Most of them have threads upon threads with presets for different games. This makes it look not as suspicious. Toning down the aimbot to a 4 instead of a 10, or only turning it on during high leverage situations, this type of stuff is almost impossible to detect. Take this example from this Twitch streamer Divinity.
Plan to get alpha. 10 seconds.
Let's go. Let's go. 78. 78. Oh my fucking god. Can I show titties on stream?
It is hard to tell with the Twitter quality, but here it is. Wall hacks that he accidentally exposed probably by clicking the wrong combo of keys. Oh, I also forgot to mention that he has won over $70,000 from in-game tournaments and brags about it all the time. He is not the only one doing this, and I bet he is a good player without it, but with it, he becomes a winner. One more time, people will do anything to win, especially when getting caught becomes harder and harder. With cheating becoming such a hard thing to call out without blatant evidence, people became paranoid. I'm sure we all have that one friend who accuses people of cheating whenever they die, but hey, sometimes they were probably right. I will say that the overuse of accusations does not help, and without blatant proof it should be avoided. There's a whole subreddit dedicated to trying to call out streamers who are cheating. Half of the sub is Symphony, who has never been banned and probably not cheating. The other 49% of the sub just accuses randoms with really only a small bit of real evidence. It becomes hard to take cheating accusations seriously when the vocal crowd is ridiculous. What if I told you that there was a way to avoid all these cheats and the drama that it causes? What if I told you I've been doing it as long as I've been playing, and most of you probably have too? I was a pretty high rank in Overwatch, Call of Duty, and Multiverses in the past few years, and I have never ran into anyone blatantly cheating. The thing is, I was playing on console without crossplay for the most part. Much of the cheating problems that we hear about is mainly a PC problem, due to it being much more difficult to mod current gen consoles and get them online. The reason I bring this up is because there may be a rise in cheating for some, but for a majority of people this never even impacts them. Even beyond console being difficult to bypass, most games have an extremely hated feature that protects the average player: skill-based matchmaking. Honestly, it works as a shield for 90% of the player base. I mean, if you are using aimbot and wall hacks, you will easily raise your hidden matchmaking score and get put into tougher and tougher lobbies. I've watched my friends play COD before, and there's no way in hell anybody in there is close to cheating. Even if a 10-minute game is ruined, the next one will balance it out and you just forget. I would like to wager that the amount of cheaters has definitely been rising due to everything previously outlined, but the big thing is that the outcry has grown even louder. With streamers gaining popularity and influence, it makes sense that cheaters are seen a lot more. Most big streamers in games like Overwatch or COD are high-level players who are being matched with similar skilled people. Some of these people just have to cheat to achieve it. I mean, that's why Nick Merckx is calling these people out to try to get them arrested. It is a problem for the highest percent of players, but honestly it does not seem to plague most people. The ones who are at the top though tend to be the most passionate and devoted to the game, so I do feel for them really. The devs are trying to mitigate it because it tarnishes the game's reputation when tournaments are won by frauds, and streamers highlight this cheating issue daily. Unfortunately, it becomes a cat and mouse game where one thing gets patched and another hole is found. Competitions with money may have to switch over to having live hand cams with keystrokes and mouse movements tracked. There is so much more to talk about here, such as sims, the extreme difficulty there is to sniff out a good cheater. There's even monitors being developed that help people cheat. How are you going to stop that? Overall, I wanted to demonstrate why cheats rose to such prominence in video games while at the same time being almost a myth to most players. I really want to discuss with you in the comments, disagree or agree. Let me know what you think and leave a like if you enjoyed. If you want to hear me ramble about other things, hit that sub button. Peace out and adios.